Today I am going to cover how to dismantle the Shark Professional model number S3601C0. You can see it here. To dismantle that, there are a lot of steps involved. First of all, we have to find out why we are dismantling, whether without dismantling if something can be fixed. But anyway, I'm going to cover whatever the reason may be, how to dismantle it. Then later on we can discuss something about fixing something. Okay, to start with, here this button, press this button to release this one and keep it aside. Then after that, well, you can see this is the Shark Professional. After that we have to, this is unplugged first thing. If it is recently unplugged, wait for some time because the heater will be still hot. It will scald your fingers. So this model was, this unit was already unplugged since yesterday. Now to dismantle, first thing we have to remove this handle. You have to take out this screw from here, this screw, and there are 3 other screws, one here and one on the other side here, then one over here, this one. Remove the cable first. Let me remove the cable first. Okay. Now these are the tools that will be needed. We may need these pliers later on, needle nose plier. Mostly I'll be using this Phillips screwdriver. And the small one, that may be needed at some point. And the straight edge, that may be needed, I'm not sure, but mostly this Phillips screwdriver will be used throughout. A magnetic screwdriver will be very, very useful. This one, even though it looks like magnetic, it is not magnetic. Okay, to start dismantling, remove this cap and keep it aside. Then remove these screws. Then keep the screws inside here. It may be useful later on while assembling. Then here is the screw that I have to remove. Then pull this apart and keep it aside. This is the handle. Now we are left with this unit for fixing or troubleshooting. We have to bring to this status first. Now we have to dismantle. To do that, there are screws over here, one over here and one over here. These three we have to remove, and that will help in removing other screws. By the way, this is the tank reservoir, and on this side, in this area, the heater unit is there. Inside there is a pump. I'll show you later on. Okay, now I have to remove this piece which is attached to this one. So the sequence should have been to remove this area and take out this. Well, still we can do it now. Have to get some sharp edge, because underneath there are two screws, and underneath there are two screws too. this aside along with these screws. Now to remove this piece, same thing here, to pry it open. This screwdriver won't fit. I have to use this one, this screwdriver. Actually, this is helping. This big screwdriver is helping. Okay, take some photographs when you are removing these things. So underneath, this is what is there, and there is a plus sign over here. That plus sign, that is going to touch here. When we are trying to press the buttons, it is actually hitting there. So when you are going to install it, you put to install it same way. Now I'm going to keep it aside along with the screws in there. Now pry it open. So we have to remove these screws also. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Now we have to push this pulley apart. Now I have to slide the cable, hold it here, hold it at this end so that the wire won't be pulled away. And for repairing, you can slide it away so that it will be easy to maneuver. Okay, now remember not to lose these screws. Now to remove this screw, this screw, and there are three more screws. We have to remove. And now at this point you take a picture of this one. Remember this metal piece, which is an integral part of this body, that stays underneath, because when you are going to put it back, at that time you may forget and it will be very hard to reassemble. Okay, let me remove this. Look at this screw. This is smaller than the screws that you took out from here. Like this. So remember to put back the smaller ones right here and the little bit larger ones at these 3 points. This is the unit where all those 3 LEDs were there. They were matching with this. This top one is for this, middle one is for this, and the last one scrub is for this one. And here is that control unit. The steam controller, it was sitting like this, right here. This unit has got 3 pieces on the top cover, and the screws were here in this guide. Through this one and this one, it was holding here. And this is the LED also, when you reinstall it has to align, this piece has to align with these holes. Then if you look inside here, this is the connector. Look at the connector. That is the power supply to this LED. To remove this one, you have to press these 2 ends, then push this, slide this with a screwdriver to take it out. Let me get a smaller screwdriver, straight edge. See these pins? Those pins, they go inside this one and it has to fit this way. This way. No, not this way. It has to go through this one, so these ridges, they will fit in this slot. Okay. Now keep it aside. Now the three pieces. When you install back, this has to go through this hole. Now to remove this silver lining, okay, now we are left with this one. To remove this, there are two screws. One here, another one is hiding in here, hiding here. When you are going to install, you have to put this back right here, otherwise that metal piece won't fit. So let me remove these two. I think most of the screws are of same type. There may be one or two which are a little bit thinner. Okay, now I'll remove this one away, keep it away. Now once you remove this piece, underneath there is a spring. See that spring that was in here, and it was sitting like this. When you put it back, you have to make sure that it stays on that plus sign. Then it sits like this, but it is to go underneath and okay, keep it aside. Now this will send it out. Okay. This part is the part of the reservoir, this one and this piece, this unit as well as this. That is the integral part of that reservoir, which is on the back side. It looks like this. And then there are tubes coming from the bottom of the reservoir, one on this end, and there is another tube. Are you able to see it? Another tube coming from this end. Do not remove this one, because once you remove it, it will be a little bit hard to replace it. And moreover, like people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So don't have to remove all these wherever you want to see some connection, unless you are absolutely sure that is you need to remove it. Okay, now this piece is the heater, and underneath this there is the pump. I'll show you. This one is a 5 to 7 year old pump. This whole portion was completely rusted, and even is here you can see this pump. This is the motor is already rusted, but it is still working. Underneath there are gears. Those gears, they may mesh with each other. If the gears are out of sequence, then the pump won't work. But this particular one right now, it is working. And in fact, I had opened it 2 or 3 times because it was not steaming at all. So I had fixed this unit and made sure the pump is running. Then after 2 weeks, it stopped running. Then I tried to troubleshoot and fixed it day for yesterday. So now to remove the heater, you have to remove one screw over here, this one, another screw over here, one here and one here. Somebody mentioned that it is better to remove only these 2 first, or either only one side. And underneath there are 4 small washers, red color heat resistant washers, so don't lose them. They may fall inside and it will be hard to take them out. Be very careful in removing when you open this one. And now this line is the outflow from the pump, and these lines are the inflow going to the pump, and this is the outflow. Underneath, inside, do you see something over here? Those are some controllers underneath. So this unit is supplying water, cold water or regular water from the reservoir, and sending it to the bottom of the heater. This one, bottom of the heater, which is the inflow to the heater. Then it is coming out steam is coming out through this one. Then through this one it comes under here, through this tube and escapes here. So when it is not steaming, that means nothing is coming out through this one. And again, one more thing I want to show you. This piece, this is the blow-off valve. That means when the pressure is too much, back pressure is too much in here, then this valve will open and water will drip through this one. So when you are troubleshooting, one thing you will find out that if steam is not coming out but water is dripping, that means the water is dripping from this overflow, not overflow, it's a shut-off valve, back pressure, relief valve, and dropping on the hot heater. That's why you will see steam coming out, not through this but from here, and water will be dripping. So at that point you will make sure, you will understand that water is not flowing through this heater and the nozzle is clogged. So in this case the same thing happened, and I tried to, after seeing a lot of videos and then trying to find out, I tried everything, all those the CLR. I didn't use CLR liquid, but some other liquids like those vinegar, commercial vinegar, nothing worked because this was completely rusted. Okay, now what else you want to see? Dismantling. If you want to see dismantle here, I can show you a little bit, but it will be difficult to put it back. Just simply remove this, and one more